What do you think the hopes and aspiration of this conference should be?
I think that the conference should clarify any concerns. It should also indicate that although the moral and legal case is very strong, the political obstacles are quite formidable, and that it will not be easy to translate this campaign into a successful outcome, because one assumes that Israel will use all of its capabilities to resist such a development, because it means effectively the end of Zionism, and that would challenge the beliefs and commitments of many Israelis and their Jewish supporters in this country, and probably also the Christian Zionists that number some 16 or 17 million people in this country. So that one should not underestimate the difficulties, but at the same time, since the two-state solution is not viable, this seems to me to be the only path that has any promise at all of bringing an eventual just solution and fulfilling legitimate Palestinian aspirations for self-determination. So I see it as far from a quick fix, but at the same time as the appropriate path to take at this stage in the conflict, and probably the appropriate stage to have taken long ago. It's something that Edward Said and other prophetic Palestinian voices have long understood. They've long understood that the two-state approach is neither leading to a viable or sustainable peace, and it also is a diversion from the pursuit of the one kind of resolution of this conflict that could produce genuine reconciliation and a better future for both peoples.
In your vision, how do you see the one-state solution, the benefits of it, in the sense of on the ground, people living in one state? What would be the benefits of that?
Well, of course, there are many variations of how a one-state solution would be actualized in practice, and so it's hard to anticipate exactly how that would how it would work. But it would overcome, if it was well implemented, this sense of hatred and hostility between these two peoples, and convey the sense that they're sharing land, resources, and political destiny, and that this represents the best hope of the modern vision of a sovereign state. It never was thought to be a custodian for one particular religion or one ethnic identity. And that's a perversion, in my view, of the idea of a political community in the 21st century. So I see it as a bold and courageous experiment in living together that is the only alternative to the perpetuation indefinitely of the current ordeal that has afflicted the Palestinian people, and in a sense robs the Jewish residents of Israel of dignity and respect in the world as a whole, because the only way they can maintain the current established condition is through oppressive measures, denying the Palestinian people elementary human rights, inflicting great suffering on the overwhelming mass of Palestinians living within the occupied territories, and consigning this enormous refugee population, both within the occupied territories and in neighboring countries, to a long-term condition of servitude. So there are many reasons, it seems to me, why a single state that has the same borders as historic Palestine can live in a decent way internally, and would be most likely to find acceptance within the region, which is also an important consideration, that so long as there are these two separate states or two distinct entities, or a single Israeli apartheid state, there will be hostility and enmity throughout the region. So if we want regional peace as well as peace for the two peoples, the one-state solution seems to me to be the only way to go.
Your message to the people attending the conference and activists on the ground who are not at the conference?
It's a message of some hope arising from the degree to which the Palestinians are now winning what I call the legitimacy war. That is, there is a growing solidarity movement throughout the world in support of Palestinian self-determination, human rights, and a just solution to the conflict. That is a real shift, I think, to a more effective way of waging Palestinian resistance to occupation, and should encourage those attending the conference to use their energies with more optimism about the achievement of important results. At the same time, as I've tried to indicate, it's very important to shift the debate from the so-called peace process among governments to this more grassroots campaign to build support for a one-state solution, that initially will have to be a civil society project of advocacy, as none of the relevant governmental entities has so far been willing to endorse such a vision. And that includes the Palestinian Authority, and as far as I know, it includes Hamas. So one is urging those attending the conference to be energetic in discrediting the existing approach, and equally energetic in disseminating support for the one-state vision of a just Palestine.